Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to your daily read. This will be for Friday, November 4th, 2022. I do want to thank you so much for your presence and for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions to the channel if you haven't done so already. We're going to begin and pull from the Tattoo Tarot deck to get, I'm aiming for one overall energy focus, if you will, for the day. But do keep in mind this is general for the day for all 12 signs. So simply take what resonates and leave the rest behind. For Friday. What do we have for Friday? Okay. The Queen of Cups coming out. We'll see what that's all about. I do feel as if there's a very royal way about your presence, about the way you're carrying oneself in regards to what you produce, develop, accomplish in one way, shape, or form. There's a focus on protection I'm getting with this eye here, but also a bit of your third eye being partially, if not fully, open to the truth in a situation. But underneath it all, I feel like you're truly gaining a nice amount of quality attention, right? More so than the previous days, or more so in comparison to the past weeks. I do feel as if you're needing to recognize that you deserve the attention flowing in at this time. Okay, they want this one on this side, and then we'll do a nice little layered spread in between. I'm sensing that you're thinking about future endings, okay? For some of you, predictably knowing that something's meant to come to an end in the future, having an end point, or that just being obvious. Here it could be a contract for some, but I do also feel as if there's for some of you, you're just hoping for one, right? Or thinking about, if this was to come to an end, what would I want to move towards? It's going to differ from case to case as to what that is for you. But let's do some shuffling and pull some Dream Keeper Tarot. I know this is a weird deck, but it just felt drawn to use it. So we have the Seven of Wands and the Ten of Wands. So in the midst of something feeling a little bit heavy, once again, in energy and workload, you name it, but also a lot of compliments coming towards you with the Seven of Wands, a lot of praise, just a lot of comments. I feel as if it's hard not to focus on what doesn't feel perfect, but it's this feeling that you may also have somebody or multiple people coming towards you, and that feels heavy to an extent. I feel like there's a push to recognize when you're not being fully true to oneself throughout the day. However, I feel like it's a minor moment, or moments, but it needs to be highlighted. Even if you're still figuring out who you're meant to be in this lifetime, there's a need to be completely true to oneself and not try to be anybody else or true to someone else's outlook on things. Interesting. The Eight of Swords and the Tower card coming out as well. Once again, thinking about endings, okay? You could be pushed to reflect upon an ending from the past to keep things in perspective. This just happened to me yesterday, where I was pushed to think about a past situation that was very, very toxic, to highlight in my mind that things in my current day situation could be so much worse. It's spirit at work saying, you may feel a little bit trapped in certain ways, but you were more so trapped in, even if you glorified it at that time, right? That situation was 10 times worse, okay? And if it's really that bad, it'll come to an end when the time is right. But you need to recognize divine timing is at play. And so it's this feeling that there's certain levels of emotion that need to be highlighted, in needing to recognize if that's even your emotion at that point, or if you're empathically picking up on it, okay? Or if you're just kind of having a moment and then intuitively, or just you shake it off and move on with your day and accomplish something else, right? Or it could even benefit your work all the meanwhile, getting a release through it all, in one way, shape, or form, or whatever you accomplish in that moment. But the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords, interesting. Needing to keep things fresh in one's mind, heart, and soul. I really do feel as if you're learning more about why you're gaining more attention throughout this day, but you're also learning more about one's future and potentially those who you're wrapped up with through the gaining of attention, even if that attention feels a bit heavy, stemming from one particular person or several people. But there's a feeling that you're doing a bit of reflecting, and you could find that somebody else is doing some self-reflecting in your midst as well, Now, for whatever reason, that's taking a highlight once again. But I do sense that with the Page of Pentacles, there's a focus on seeking out a new place of employment, a new financial investment, continuously trying to expand your business, however it works for you. There's a level of vulnerability taking place throughout this day that leaves you very successful, but potentially needing to thoroughly cleanse your energy once again, or just, it's like it also is pushing you to just know a lot more than you knew before, right? They're making me think about how, say I'll put myself on a live reading these days, leaving myself vulnerable, right? But it pays off all the meanwhile, and then I end up knowing more about my own future potentially, and or other people's futures all the meanwhile and what they're dealing with. Does that make sense? Apply it to your situation, but that's just an example. They're just pushing me to use my own situation experience to help you connect it to yours. But let's keep pulling. I'm going to pull one more for the middle. The Three of Cups at the bottom. So the number 33 coming out if we connect those two cards. And I really do feel as if it's a day where we're pushing you to, Spirit's pushing you to recognize that there's a lot of spirituality at hand, right? Spiritual protection, guidance, and even slip-ups due to it all, right? Nothing's perfect. But I do feel as if you're being reminded with this that there's so much celebration to focus on, right? To implement into your day-to-day situation, but this day specifically, because this attention, right, minus the heavy aspects of it, or the people that are bringing heavy attention towards you, there's positive attention, right? There's lighthearted attention and growth because of it all, right? Progression. So that needs to be celebrated, even if it's done so in a very simplistic, non-action sort of way. In your mind, heart, and soul, celebrate it, my friend. Celebrate it. I'm now hearing everything in moderation, but we have the Queen of Cups again. The Queen of Cups again. Okay, feeling separated from your heart is what I'm hearing. Interesting. So there could be a moment throughout the day where you feel a little bit cold-hearted for whatever reason, due to somebody in your midst, or due to what you've been through, or just due to not wanting to get too emotionally wrapped up with something. There's something to learn about why that's taking place for you individually, but I really do sense that the number 3 just heavily speaks upon this day once again. And you're being reminded you have a lot of reasons to be grateful at this time, so don't let the negatives overpower that. Let's move on to a different deck. They want, I'm going to do some small everyday tarot. Switch it up. I haven't used this in a hot second. And I actually think we will shift these down and make a bit of a pyramid. I just heard I feel very comfortable in your presence. I feel very comfortable in your presence as I just twitched a bit. And I do sense that that's going for people in your midst, in regards to how they feel about you, around you. But I also feel like that's people at a distance, viewing your content, feeling connected to you energetically, thinking about you from the past, considering you. Ugh. As it flies onto the ground. Yeah, I feel like as I hit the camera, I'm so sorry. Somebody underneath it all is feeling a bit emotional, okay? I don't really feel like that's you, because I'm seeing the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck. But the world. This day reminds you that your world's changing, and I sense that you're gaining more knowledge, better understanding of how your individual world is developing and growing at this time, and how you're changing through it all. And other people, all the meanwhile, somehow are differing from case to case, are gaining a bit more insight in regards to how you're changing, and therefore how your world is changing, right? So it's almost a reversed sort of understanding. Did that make sense? Spirit's saying it did. Very interesting. I kind of liked how that came out. But the Tower card once again. So you're being pushed to remember that something is temporary. In a sense, everything's temporary to an extent, but there's a financial investment or a job that you feel is not ideal, or just is now being highlighted in one's mind as something that needs to be replaced in the future. And so therefore you're being reminded that Tower moment will come to be when the time is right. But also they're saying an end to worrying about your finances due to putting efforts towards gaining more employment, or just more money flowing in, a different form of income, stream of income. But it just feels like all the meanwhile, There needs to be a diminishing of one's focus on any stress throughout this day for whatever reason. The number 1001, angel number Y, is coming into play. 1001. We have the High Priestess. Yeah, it's a day where you are being reminded wholeheartedly you are so damn protected and spiritually connected once again. And even small moments, transitions throughout this day, turns in the right direction, and the stopping of certain thoughts and actions, I want to say, and levels of focusing, it's spiritually connected, okay? And your intuition is beyond powerful, and even your predictive nature for some drawn to this reading. And your connection to the moon is what I'm getting. So I need to trust both of which, and even certain predictions that come to light from other people, okay? Say a reader or something of the sort, or somebody you know. But I just feel as if it's a day where you're reminded everything is going to just transition and proceed in the way it's meant to. And it's a day that reminds you of just that, but it's a day that evidently shows you that you're meant to succeed in ways that have been feeling a bit delayed or just a bit back and forth in the recent days, weeks, months, years even for some. And that your world is changing as you grow and develop as an individual. And that's quite evident to oneself and other people. All right? So I hope this was truly helpful. I'm sending you so much love and light. Go enjoy your Friday, and I'll definitely see you next time.